And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I'm also broadcasting on Roar 1776 Radio in Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7, or you can go right to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to just comment or engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number is 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is David Garrett. He's talking about the law, and you know what? We're going to talk about somebody who actually got arrested for playing the Star-Spangled Banner. We'll tell you all about that a little bit later. My special guest is Dr. Stephen Tidwell with his continuing series, Tomorrow's Dentistry Today. But I want you to know that right now at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it's currently 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. But you know what? You're here. We're going to give you a couple of segments of news. Let's start that right now. And the Confederate flag is taken down in South Carolina after 54 years. South Carolina pulled the Confederate flag from its place of honor at the State House today, marking a milestone in how American ceremonies commemorates the war that tore the United States apart 150 years ago. Many people believed the rebel banner would fly forever in the first state to leave the Union, despite bitter feelings that remained after the flag was demoted from atop the Capitol Dome to a Confederate monument out front 15 years ago. But the killings of 9 black church members during a Bible study in Charleston last month suddenly changed the political truths and consequences surrounding Civil War symbols. The battle flag, unfurled to assert white power and protest the civil rights protest in the 1960s, had been defended by white Republican leaders until last month as a symbol of Southern pride. After the church attack, even supporters felt compelled to acknowledge that the flag also represents racial hatred. No lie can live forever. The flag is a lie, South Carolina NAACP President Lonnie Randolph said. The flag came down today without incident in a 6-minute ceremony amid a crowd of up to 10,000 people chanting, USA, USA, and hey, 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 goodbye. And let's hope that it's goodbye forever. I hope you feel that way. That's the way I feel about it. And how about this? Greece's Tsipras tries to rally support for an austerity deal. Greece's prime minister acknowledges today the reforms his government has proposed in return for a third bailout are harsh and include measures far from his party's election pledges, but insisted they were Greece's best chance to emerge from a financial crisis. In the speech delivered after midnight with strong personal tones, Alexis Tsipras sought to persuade lawmakers, including dissenters within his own left-wing Syriza party, to back the proposals and grant his finance minister the authorization to use them as a basis for negotiations with creditors over the weekend. A vote was expected about 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Tsipras said his government had made mistakes during his 6-month tenure, but said he had negotiated as hard as he could. There's no doubt that for 6 months now we've been in a war, he said, adding that his government had fought difficult battles and had lost some of them. Now I have a feeling we've reached the demarked line. From here on, there is a minefield, and I don't have the right to dismiss this or hide it from the Greek people, he said. But he insisted the latest proposal contains measures that would help the economy and, if approved by Greece creditors, would unlock sufficient financing for the country to emerge from its protracted crisis and see its massive debt tackled. You know what? Let's hope that Greece actually stands by this this time. It really needs to. This is its last chance to stay in the Eurozone. And let me tell you, as an economist, if they don't, not only is the Eurozone in danger here, but following Greece is going to be Spain and Portugal and Italy and Ireland. That would destroy the euro altogether and would dramatically harm the European economy. You would just see a fall like we had worse in our own recession here. You know what? And you think that wouldn't affect the United States? Well, then you're wrong, because it would affect the United States deeply. You know, just little wrinkles are already affecting the stock market. Think about what a crash would actually do. Now, the latest, Paraguayans elated by the Pope's visit. Here are the latest developments from Pope Francis, his trip to South America. And we're going to do it in time that is related to South America. At 6:45 p.m., Pope Francis's apology for the grave sins the Catholic Church committed against indigenous peoples in the Americas during the European conquest had been well received by many native peoples across the continent. But for Mayan activist Andrea Ixtiu in Guatemala, it is pure marketing for the Church, coming so many years after the fact. She thinks it's meant to prevent Catholics from leaving the faith in favor of Protestant evangelical sects. Ixtiu says the Church should return to native peoples' land it took from them. And then at 5:50 p.m., the crowd walking back to Assumption Center from the airport is in high spirits after seeing the Pope, singing and chanting, "Long live the Pope." Many people said they hoped Francis's visit would help improve life for the marginalized. Vivian Nunes, a 26-year-old psychologist, said she was very moved and hopes for big changes. Maybe there won't be political change, but human change in each person. Housewife Eladia Olmedo said the Pope has already changed Paraguay. They fixed the streets. They cleaned things up. They beautified the city. Well, you know, let's just hope that continues. This Pope is quite a guy. You know, he's got the courage of his convictions. He walks the walk and he talks the talk, but he believes in what he says, and he's not afraid of anyone. Well, under fire for data breach, Obama's personnel chief steps down. The embattled head of the government's personnel office abruptly stepped down today, bowing to mounting pressure following the unprecedented breach of private information her agency was entrusted to protect. Catherine Archuleta had served as director of the Federal Office of Personnel Management since November of 2013, the former national political director for President Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign. Archuleta came under scathing criticism and revelations this year that hackers widely believed to be China's government had irritated her agency's databases, as well as background check records for millions who applied for U.S. security clearances. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with some more news for you. And this first one here is from the FBI. They're saying church gunmen shouldn't have been able to get a gun. Well, I think we all agree with that, but we'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? Let's get right back into the news. You know, you heard me say it. An FBI church gunman shouldn't have been able to get a gun. The gunman charged in the Charleston, South Carolina church massacre should not have been allowed to purchase the weapon used in the attack, FBI Director James Comey said today as he outlined a series of heartbreaking missed opportunities and background check flaws that allowed the transaction to take place. We are all sick that this has happened, Comey told reporters at an unusual, hastily scheduled meeting at FBI headquarters. We wish we could turn back time because from this vantage point, everything seems obvious, but we can't. He said he ordered a review into what happened and that FBI officials would meet tomorrow, or actually today, with victims' relatives to explain the errors. The cascading set of problems began with the drug-related arrest of Dylan Roof in South Carolina weeks before the shooting, touching off miscommunication between local and federal officials and revealing potential shortcomings in the government's background check process. At issue was a police report from Roof's arrest in which authorities say he admitted to possessing illegal drugs under federal rules. That admission alone would have been enough to disqualify him from an April gun purchase, even though he wasn't convicted of the charge. But Comey said the FBI background check examiner who evaluated Roof's gun purchase order never saw the arrest report because the wrong arresting agency was listed on state criminal history records. Had the West Virginia-based examiner seen the police report, the purchase would have been denied, Comey said. You know what? Would have been, could have been, should have been. It wasn't. Isn't that the problem? Yeah, it wasn't. You know what? How often are we going to just let these people keep meeting saying, well, we screwed up, oh, we messed up, oh, we didn't do that? Isn't it about time that people started to answer for these shortfalls? You don't expect these kind of travesties, these kinds of misuse from the FBI or the CIA or any police agency that supposedly has the training and is prepared for these kinds of emergencies. It's the wrong thing to happen. You know what? You can blame Obama, you can blame the Justice Department, you can blame all of them, but the truth is, it is everyone's fault. Somewhere, something is lacking. You know what? I wish I had time to talk about how I feel about what's going on with our veterans at the VA today, but that'll take more time than I've actually got on the show. Anyway, let's talk about this. Iran talks at impasse amid bickering extended for a third time. The Iran nuclear talks shifted today to a blame game as Iran's foreign minister accused the United States of shifting its demands and dismissed a warning that the United States was ready to quit the negotiations. Hours after his comments, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif met again with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry for another attempt at resolving the differences standing in the way of a landmark deal that offers Iran sanctions relief in exchange for long-term verifiable curbs on nuclear programs that Tehran could use to make weapons. Afterward, Kerry spoke of progress while acknowledging a couple of very difficult issues still blocking the deal. And despite the sharp public comments by both sides, he said the negotiating atmosphere was very constructive. Still, the sense of drift grew. A senior U.S. official said the preliminary April deal that set up the present negotiations had been extended until Monday. That effectively set a fourth target date for a final accord that initially was supposed to be sealed by June of 30th. You know, how many lines in the sand do we have to draw? You know, the tougher rhetoric today mirrored the frustrations by the sides as the current round of talks entered the 14th day. After blowing past two extensions, negotiators had hoped to wrap up the talks by today, but Zarif's comments cast doubts that agreement was near. The sides had hoped to seal a deal before the end of today in Washington to avoid delays in implementing their promises. By missing that target, the U.S. and Iran now have to wait for a 60-day congressional review period during which President Barack Obama cannot waive sanctions on Iran. Had they reached a deal by then, the review would have been only 30 days. Iran is unlikely to begin a substantial rollback of its nuclear program until it gets sanctions relief in return. You know what? Are they just playing with us? As usual? You know, don't we have the upper hand here? I think we do. Isn't it time that we called it? I think so. Well, here's one. Why the toy minion curse words might just all be in your head. You know, McDonald's swears up and down that the little yellow minion's Happy Meal toy is speaking only nonsense words and not something a little more adult. Experts say the company might be right, and the curse words mini here may be tied to how our brains are primed to find words even when they're not really there. The world's largest hamburger chain and purveyor of Happy Meals said today that it doesn't plan to take the talking Happy Meal toy out of distribution, even though some customers say it sounds like it's cursing. A toy bought by the Associated Press made a sound that could be interpreted as the phrase often abbreviated as WTF. We all know what that is. What the something, right? Another phrase sounded like it could be, well, I'll be damned. The sound quality of the toy makes it hard to say definitely or definitively who is right. The little yellow minion characters speak a nonsense language, and McDonald's Corporation said the Minion Caveman toy makes three sounds: na-ha-ha, para-la-bouquet, and AA. The Oak Brook, Illinois-based company issued a statement saying it received only a few comments from customers about the toy, which was introduced July the 3rd. Now, again, don't go away. You do not want to go away, because you know what's up next? Yeah, the IRS loses. And in today's cases where the IRS loses, our first case up is banks need not turn over a company's funds. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So please, don't go away. We'll be right back. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated Celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what, let's not waste any time, let's get right to it. The first case, as I mentioned to you when we went on our break, is banks need not turn over company funds. Let me tell you all about it. The IRS said that a company marketed illegal tax shelters and sent it a large bill for taxes and penalties. Now, this automatically created a lien against the company's property in favor of the IRS. Now, the IRS then ordered several banks holding the company's funds to turn over the funds to the IRS. The banks protested, went to court. This is what the judge actually said. A lien gives a creditor like the IRS an interest in property to secure a claim. But here, the IRS had taken none of the legal steps necessary to go further and take control of the property, either by seizure or by establishing a receivership for the company's assets. There was no legal foreclosure or final judgment, so the banks do not have to remit those funds. You know, the IRS keeps thinking that they can do things that we can't do. We're all bound by the same laws. Just the IRS can break them and they don't even get their wrist slapped. You know, for us, it's throw us in jail and throw away the key. Go figure, right? Here's another case the IRS lost. A judge cannot be overruled without cause. Let me tell you about it. The IRS said that an executive took $3 million of untaxed kickbacks. He said that the money went to a corporation that properly paid tax on it. The IRS replied that the corporation was a sham. The case was very complex, so the tax court sent it to a special trial judge to develop facts and an opinion. The judge held for the executive on the basis of witnesses' testimony and facts that he found, but the tax court then dismissed the importance of the witnesses, read the facts differently, and ruled for the IRS anyhow. So what did the Court of Appeals say? The tax court must defer to the special trial judge absent clear error by the latter. There was none, so the latter opinion governs. And that's exactly the way that you want it to be. That's the way it should be. That's just the way it should be. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. They didn't meet the burden of proving unreported income, and they try this junk all the time. Let me tell you about it. A lawyer reported receiving $138,783 of income over 2 years on which he owed back taxes. The IRS examined his bank records, found $273,409 of deposits, said $237,541 of them were income, and increased his tax bill. Lawyer went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS has the burden of proving unreported income, but here it didn't show how it decided which deposits were and which ones were not taxable, or how it had reduced taxable deposits by previously reporting income and ignored actual facts of which it was aware that affect the essential accuracy of each of those accounts of alleged total unreported income. So it hadn't met its burden, and the increase to the income is dismissed. Now, you got to love this stuff. This has got to send chills up and down your spine. It does mine anyway. So anyway, let's move on to our next section. That is a section that we call Inside the IRS. Wouldn't you love to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things? And that's what this section's all about. Now, this isn't a court case, but this is precedence that was set by the IRS that you want to know about, and it can help you in the long run. Knowledge never hurts when you're fighting the IRS. I can guarantee you that. Well, first up is suppose you haven't filed your tax return for several years and the IRS sends you a letter saying that it wants to audit you. Your best approach? Retain a knowledgeable tax attorney to contact the IRS and say when the agent can expect to receive your delinquent tax returns. A date for the audit can be scheduled at that time, or a new date if the audit had already been scheduled. And the next thing you do, retain an accountant to prepare your tax returns absolutely correctly. Now is not the time to take aggressive tax positions. And be careful. Do not call the IRS agent yourself to explain why you haven't filed your taxes or why you failed to file. This admission could be used against you if the IRS later decides that it wants to prosecute you for a tax crime. So you know what? It's not a free trip. Always, always, always go to that licensed professional. They're going to save you more money than they cost you. And then finally, charitable contributions made to an organization cannot be earmarked for the benefit of a particular individual. Now, a common but technically not allowable practice is for a church or a synagogue to raise money to benefit a member who has suffered a tragedy. The better approach here, donations to the charity should be solicited for general purposes, but can then be used by the leadership as they see fit, including to help a specific family or individual congregant. Special exceptions based on a recent IRS ruling, donations solicited for families of firefighters killed in the line of duty in Southern California during these big fires we've been having, they're going to be exempted from that. And so that's something that you need to know about. Now, do not go away. Boy, you don't want to miss this. Up next is our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell. He's going to be continuing his series, Tomorrow's Dentistry Today, and you certainly don't want to miss that. We'll be right back with Dr. Tidwell after these brief messages. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:32 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? He's waiting in the wings. Last week he talked to us from Virginia. This week I think he's talking to us from California. In any event, he's going to be talking to us, so let's get him in here to talk to us. Ladies and gentlemen, from his dentist chair in Rancho Cucamonga, our expert on everything dental. He's going to talk about tomorrow's dentistry today. Our own doctor, Stephen Tidwell. Hey, Steve, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. Are you back home safe and sound?
From beautiful Virginia and Washington, D.C., and now I'm in beautiful San Diego, you know.
Are you at Comic-Con?
Here we've actually decided, I noticed in San Diego, I think it's by city and county law that the weather has to be perfect. So, it's another perfect day in San Diego.
Wow. Are you guys attending the Comic-Con Festival?
We are impacted by the Comic-Con Festival, but it's actually a family get-together for one of my favorite aunts, a memorial service. So it's one of the reasons that we get together with family now.
Well, you know what? Is this a recent thing that's happened?
Oh, yeah. And, my aunt is probably one of the most upbeat people that I can remember, and she would be absolutely appalled if she ever thought any of us were running around all sad around it, So it's worth celebrating her life and enjoying the time together.
Well, that's wonderful. You know what? Memories are everything. And, if you get family members that gather together at a time when everybody's a little depressed because of the loss of someone they loved so much, and they start telling these stories, and all of a sudden it kind of lifts you back up again, and you celebrate a life and not a passing. I think that's a good thing.
It really is.
So, Steve, you can talk about her if you'd like to, or we can get right into dentistry.
Well, let's talk some teeth there, Bob. I always love to talk about my favorite new, I call it my new toy, but it's the it's really the newest thing, I think, really, as far as dentistry goes, where I can actually make my own crowns right there in the office.
Miles of smiles with our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell.
That's it. Yeah, miles of smiles and teeth, and you get a crown in 90 minutes. Yeah, no more of the goop in your mouth. You don't have to put up with that temporary crown that falls off. You don't have to. I mean, you don't leave the office except with a brand new, permanently cemented crown. It is so neat the way we do that. It's all CAD/CAM technology, computer-assisted design, computer-assisted machined, and to amazing quality control standards. And they look good, they feel good, it works. It's just an amazing boon to my practice.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions just to bring us back into some kind of perspective here. Let's just assume that. Well, first of all, tell us why someone would need a crown. What happens that causes them to need a crown, and then take us from the moment that they walk into your office that you have diagnosed what the issue is, and you have to go through some procedures, and they need to have a crown. Can you take us from the beginning?
Yeah, well, the usual thing is someone comes in and they either have a large cavity or they've chipped or broken part of their tooth or a very large filling that is either decaying or is deteriorating. And we look at that and go, gee, this is just going to be too little tooth structure left to support just a regular filling. We're going to have to do a crown of some sort. And so at that point, I can actually look at the patient and I go, they've already taken your half a day off from work, rather than come back and have to, take 2 more appointments, like we used to. You'd have to come in, take your impressions, do all this sort of stuff. I go, do you have a little time now? Well, yeah. Well, let's just do your crown and we'll get you on your way. Okay. So we make the tooth numb, and while they're waiting for the anesthetic to take effect, it's a little scanner. It looks kind of like Bob Barker's microphone a little bit. It's got a little thick handle and then it has a small part that sticks out, and it has a little window on it, a little lens, and it has a little strobe light, and then you just run that over the teeth. First the teeth that you're going to work on, and then the teeth that are going to bite into it, and then we have the patient bite and close, and we take another scan of that. And all that works together, so then I do what I need to do on the tooth, get all the decay out. And now, with the way we do this, we bond the crown in, so I don't have to make the kind of a drilling sort of a preparation that involves removing extra tooth structure. I just take away the decay, take away the filling, save as much of the tooth as possible, because it's all porcelain. There's no metal to hide. You don't have to do any of that. It just looks like a tooth. So I just do my thing, and then I scan that into the computer. Then I design inside this program. They've just got this really sophisticated program where I go through several steps, and you design the shape, the size, how it fits the remaining tooth structure. And once you get that set, you push the button, and it sends it off to the milling machine, where I have 2 diamond drills that actually carve out of a block of the ceramic material, will actually carve the crown into the perfect shape and size. And when it's through, it is perfect. It'll fit right in the mouth, except for one little problem.
Is it hollow?
It's purple. It's purple.
Is it hollow at that time, though? I mean, is it?
Oh yeah, it fits right over the tooth, just like a regular crown does, but it's purple.
Purple's not good, unless you're. I can't think of the guy's name now. Donny Osmond. Purple's not good.
No, purple isn't a good thing. So it's a pale purple, so it isn't too bad. But and the reason that this is that this material needs to be baked, and so from there I take it to the oven. I put some glaze on it, and I take it to the oven at over 800 degrees centigrade. It cooks over a 15-minute cycle, and with a vacuum, and that strengthens the material. It actually triples the strength of the material, and at that point, that purple then becomes the tooth color that we want to see. I can always add shading so that I can customize it to fit in with the adjacent teeth, and I love doing that. It's sort of the artistic side of me. And then once that's all done, we finish doing what we need to do so that we just bond that into place with a resin cement that it actually adheres onto the tooth so strongly that I have to say that I just don't see the inside of those crowns again. That's it. It's over. And when you leave, I tell the patient, give it about 15, 20 minutes for the cement to fit a final set. But by the time you get to where you're going to go, if you're going to go order lunch, by the time your food's delivered, you're ready to go. And it's permanent, it's smooth, it's beautiful, and it's done.
So I'm guessing that anybody who needs
a
a root canal also needs to get a crown, right?
Oh, right. And there's a number of reasons for that. The reason you did a root canal is you had a big cavity, you lost a bunch of tooth structure, so you need to replace that. And the other thing is, without the nerve in the tooth, what you've done with the root canal is you're cleaning out all of that, all the blood supply and all the living tissue that's inside that tooth. It's now brittle, and so you need to hold that together, reinforce it, if you will, and that's where the crown really comes into place.
So
and
when
again,
you're all done with that, Steve, does it feel like your real teeth, or do you lose sensitivity of any kind? Can you still chew food and feel the same way when you're doing stuff?
Oh yeah, it really doesn't change anything. The only thing that it will change is if you happen to we don't notice it as much when we get older, Bob. And I know you're real young, but I'm starting to get a little older.
I love you,
and
Steve.
And so ice isn't as big of a deal for my teeth anymore like it used to be, but our nerves tend to shrink back inside the tooth, and so you don't have as much sensitivity. But once you had a root canal, there's absolutely zero hot and cold sensitivity to anything. So that's really about the only thing that you notice, is that there's nothing that's sensitive anymore. But it chews the same, it feels the same. It's there's really no difference. It just becomes part of you.
So when you present this to your patients they're coming into your office, they don't even know they need a root canal, and they hear a crown and they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to go out and float alone. Are most patients, do they have to be talked into this, or do they readily accept the explanation that you give?
Well, the thing about it is that when you're talking to them just at the beginning, you talk about what are we trying to achieve. We want to save your teeth, and it's a whole lot less expensive to do a crown, even with a root canal, than it is to replace it with anything, with a bridge, an implant, anything like that. So, and it's so much better to have your own tooth. You can get your floss around it. It just feels like it belongs. Everything is normal. And so saving your teeth is way, way ahead of the game. And all you need to do is lose one of your molars and try and eat some taco chips, and you know right away how big of a mistake that was.
Let me ask you this, Steve. People that used to have their teeth removed and get false teeth, does this actually replace some of that, at least, where these people can get these crowns and their teeth look beautiful and they don't have to have all their teeth removed?
Well, that's the whole point. And once you lose the first tooth, besides maybe wisdom teeth or perhaps an elective extraction to make room for braces, I had to go through that as a kid. That's hardly ever done anymore. But, when it comes to your major chewing teeth or front tooth or something, obviously you don't want to lose any of those, because as soon as you do, it impacts your whole mouth. Things start to shift now. We're having the adjacent teeth are moving into the space. The opposing teeth, the ones that are chewing against her, are trying to maintain contact with a tooth that isn't there. They grow down into or up, and depending on which tooth you're missing, of course, they try to grow to meet the lost tooth. And now everything has changed, and that will impact, because it's the hip bone's connected to the whole bit. It's you'll find that now your bite's been changed. I see patients that now have joint pain, which translates into pain in their jaws. It'll actually extend down your neck into your shoulders. It's a slippery slope, and then you end up with a denture. You talked about that, and if it has to be, you have to make one. You have to make one. But when you have natural teeth, you can chew with a force of 3,000 pounds per square inch.
Holy cow!
That's pretty substantial, and that's normal. I mean, there's people that can do more, and there's that little old lady that only chews on Sunday, and she doesn't put as much pressure on it. But with a denture, when you don't have teeth under it, you're limited to a tenth of that. Literally, 300 pounds per square inch is all you're able to generate.
So it really affects it affects your ability to eat and enjoy the process.
Oh yeah, I mean, how are you gonna chew any nuts? I mean, let alone you happen to get a steak that isn't melt in your mouth. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
So it really does impact your whole quality of life when you lose teeth.
Wow. You know what? And that machine, it's either a 3-day wait or a week wait, or it's a 40-minute wait if they want to come to your office, right?
Well, it's 3 weeks if you want to turn around a normal case from the lab, and this way you walk in, 90 minutes later you walk out with your tooth.
That's amazing.
It's just, or sometimes teeth. If I have a case coming in here next week where I'll actually do 4 teeth in a row, and I'll be done in 2 hours without any problem.
You ought to charge an extra $30 in the middle of the process, send them out for lunch, and tell them their teeth will be ready when they come back.
There you go. I usually do tell people, like, if you got a busy guy, I say, you're going to have a couple of breaks here where you're going to be able to go and be on the phone, answer emails, do something like that for 20 minutes at a whack. So, if you want to bring your laptop or, use your phone, now's a great time.
Absolutely. Why don't you give out your contact information, Steve?
We're at tidwelldentistry.net, and that from there, that's my website. That's tidwelldentistry.net, and you'll see our contact information for both offices in San Bernardino and Rancho Cucamonga. And I'm in the 909 code at 944-7308 in Cucamonga. San Bernardino, it's 909-881-3336.
And we'll be right back with our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell and his series, Tomorrow's Dentistry Today. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell, and we're talking about tomorrow's dentistry today. And Steve just spent the last 15 minutes or so talking about a new machine he's got in the front of his office that actually lets you get your crown the same day that you arrive. You know, generally it would take you about 3 weeks to get a crown, but this way you go in, you get it taken care of. 3 hours later, you're walking out of there with miles of smile and a brand new crown, and you feel good about it. Hey, Steve, you've got the microphone.
Well, thank you, Bob. And yes, there's a couple of real advantages to that. You know, you save time. That's the biggest one. You know, you've already spent that half a day at work to explaining to your boss or, to your staff that, hey, I'm going to have to go to the dentist today. And it's nice to not have to go through that again, take away more time away from family or work. And then the other part of it is that, you don't have the goop in your mouth. You don't have to get numb twice. You don't have to run around favoring one tooth, oh, gosh, I have to eat on the other side. If I get something sticky or hard over there, I'm going to pull off that temporary crown. None of that. So, yeah, it's really a huge convenience for my patients, and I'm just very thrilled that I can provide that.
Let me ask you this, Steve. Do you ever have a case, and I'm sure you do, where someone needs multiple crowns? Is it still can it still be a one-day deal?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I may take just a little more time because, it takes a little time to mill them, but you kind of do them, if you sort of do them in tag team, it doesn't have to it takes another 12 minutes each, and then you can combine them with the oven time so that you don't have to spend too much more time. But generally, if I'm going to do the difference between one crown and 3 or 4 is probably a half an hour.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, it really isn't a big difference because, once you're in there, I'm not all over the mouth. I'm going to do the ones on one side, one time, and one side another time. So
if a guy comes in, you actually can take care of a great deal of this in a visit or maybe 2 visits if he has something catastrophic going on.
Well, very much so, and I've done that before. I actually had a case where we ended up in 2 separate morning appointments. I ended up doing 8 crowns for one patient, and he was thrilled. He actually flew down from Idaho. He got it done, and flew back a couple of days later, and was thrilled that he didn't have to mess with that for an extended period of time that we would have in the old days. You would have looked at least 6 weeks of overall time, waiting 3 weeks for each set of crowns to come back.
Wow. So not only is it efficient, but I've got to think that people have peace of mind. When they make this decision that they're going to get these crowns done, and most people think in terms of this is going to be a long, protracted, uncomfortable procedure, when they realize that they're going to be in and out the same day, regardless of the I shouldn't say regardless of the extent of it, because there's got to be some limitations, but basically they got to feel pretty good because they don't have to make that return visit and be anxious about it.
Well, that's part of it, and the other part of it is, Bob, I always tell them to bring their cell phone, because I get the normal response is the patient goes out where I'm milling the crowns, and it has that lovely blue light, and it shoots water and all that sort of stuff. They're out there with their cell phones taking video of the machine making the crown for their tooth. It's hilarious. So we make sure we put that out in front of everyone. What's that thing for? And we tell them, we go, oh, really? And then they go out and they're taking video of it. It's really cute.
Well, it's interesting.
Bob, I was going to kind of go on and talk a little bit about something. I had 3 buzzwords. I don't think we'll need too much time for that, but it was talking about some of the hazards that people consider when you're going to the dentist. And the 3 words are mercury, radiation, and toothpaste. So why don't we go run them right on down?
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait till you get the toothpaste. That's a hazard.
There you go. I got to leave the teaser for last.
Okay.
So mercury, of course, is the binding ingredient between silver fillings. It's also that heavy metal that everybody is worried about, because a friend of mine did some research many years ago. It's probably been 40 years ago. And he actually... It took cadaver brain tissue and correlated the amount of mercury that was found in brain tissue with the number of fillings in a patient's mouth. And there was a correlation. It was still subclinical as far as his findings went. He couldn't really make a definition as to what that was causing to the patient. But it was true that if you had silver fillings, you were going to get mercury into your nervous system. Now, there's a lot of things that people will talk about, and there's some people that are more sensitive than others, and there's a lot of other sources of mercury. Overeating too much tuna fish or any other seafood can do that. If you're on the top of the food chain, as some of the tuna are, or sharks, those the mercury collects from critter to critter to critter and never really leaves, and so when you eat it as the highest part of the food chain, you get a nice dose of that. But dentally, the key to remember on it is don't panic and get all your silver out, because the times where you really expose the patient to the mercury is when you put the silver in and when you take it out. At those times is when the mercury, it becomes vaporized. It's the drill stirs it up when you're taking it out. When you're putting it in, the vapors are all there. Those are the times when the patient is the most exposed. While you have it in your mouth, it's very stable. There's hardly any that is leaked into your body. So
once it's there, it doesn't make sense that you be fearful and have it taken out.
No, I've had a few patients that really insisted, and we are careful. We use a rubber dam, which is just a barrier to keep it keep them from breathing the dust and all this. But on the most part, it's very. It's a great filling from the standpoint of engineering-wise for a number of reasons, but it isn't used. I don't have it in the office because I don't want the mercury in the office. I don't want to have to talk to OSHA and put up all the signs saying, watch out for the mercury. Yeah. You don't have to, because I don't have any mercury. So we don't do silver fillings. I don't miss them. It's great. Now, radiation's the other thing. Everybody is concerned, oh gosh, Dr. Oz, bless his heart, said something about radiation in the dentist. I just was screaming at the television. I couldn't believe he was doing this, because especially now we've gone to digital, and when I went to digital, I just cut the radiation dose from a dental x-ray by over 60%. It's crazy how much of a difference it made to go from film to digital x-rays.
So absolutely minimal now.
It's really, really a nice way to be able to show the patient what's going on, because now instead of these little film strips, we can put it on the whole computer screen and say, yeah, there's your tooth and there's the hole. Oh, I get it, Doc. I understand now. I thought those were toes before. And that's what everybody calls them. They always think those x-rays show toes. And I'm going like, no, that's your teeth. So, but anyway, so we do the lead apron and all that. But in all fairness, that's mostly because the law says you have to do it. There's not a lot. We have no scatter. We're looking for hard tissue, so the amount of radiation that goes into your body is so minuscule. For example, I believe it takes now with the digital X-rays, it's well over 300 individual X-rays before you even come close to a chest X-ray.
Oh,
so
gee.
It's just crazy, and so how safe it is now, it's just so much better. Nobody wants to do any more than you have to. We always say necessary X-rays because that's all we will take. There's no reason to take anything extra. And we take every precaution, and we have to be licensed by the state, and we have, a regular accreditation and all that sort of stuff, so everything is kept safe. But then you get the toothpaste, and you're wondering, how is toothpaste hazardous? Well, there was a certain kind of toothpaste there for a while, and you can look on the label now, and I do encourage people to do that, and it had actually little polyethylene beads in it. And you're going, why did they put polyethylene beads in it? Well, it was cute. It sort of sparkled. It was, gave it a little color chips, if you will. But what we found is that these little color chips would lodge in the little gum crevices around your teeth. And you can hardly get them out. And it was a little unsure as to really what the ramifications was of that, but I don't think anybody really wanted to have polyethylene chips embedded in their gums. And so that was one of the things. So I always recommend to people, just check and make sure that your toothpaste isn't one of those. They pulled most of that, but, there's still some on the market that you can still find. And then the other one was tartar control and, to a lesser degree, whitening. Tartar control toothpaste, it's so funny. To make it tartar control, one of the active ingredients they put in there is silicon dioxide. If you know what that is.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Sand.
I didn't hear you.
It's silica dioxide, sand.
Mm.
So we make it a little more abrasive. Well, that's great. It may scrape off a little tartar, but it also makes your teeth sensitive.
And it's probably not going to solve the problem, right?
No, it really doesn't. It was so funny. I remember when it came out, the guy was telling me about this, and he said, "Oh yeah, look at this in a test tube. We do this and that." I go, "Yeah, but gums aren't in a test tube, you idiot." And so it was really funny. So about 40% of the patients that use tartar control toothpaste complain of overall hot and cold sensitivity on their teeth. So. That's the first thing when somebody comes in. My teeth are sensitive. That's the first question I ask, what kind of toothpaste are you using?
Well, let me ask you this. Does the American Dental Association on their website list the preferred toothpastes, or they don't get involved in that?
Well, dentally, Bob, there really isn't a preferred toothpaste. We'd like you to use something with fluoride.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for your teeth and all the rest of that. But I always tell patients, toothpaste isn't soap. It just makes your mouth taste good. You're not killing any bugs. You're not doing any better job of brushing. It's a mechanical thing with the brushing. You actually have to get your brush and your floss to every surface of every tooth because the bacteria are a little like coral. If you stir them up once every 24 hours, it gets stirred up. They have to start all over again. You leave them alone, and pretty soon you have Hawaii. So, you want to, it's all about the mechanical part. It's not about whether you're using this kind of toothpaste or one of my bugaboos is the water pick. I had a patient in the other day, I use my water pick. Well, that's cute, buddy, but you really need to get in there and actually use the toothbrush and the floss and touch all those surfaces. And once I explained to him a little bit about it, then he goes, I get it. And I said, that's great after you've brushed.
So we've only got a very short time here. Let me ask you this. So what you're saying then is that floss is for the inside of the tooth and deeper in the gum, and the toothpaste is for the flat part of the tooth you can get to mix up that bacteria.
Yes, you're using your brush, using your floss, and between the two, you should be able to touch every surface.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Well, Steve, we got 4 seconds. What do you want to say in 4 seconds?
Say TidwellDentistry.net. Look me up, find me, come see me. I love to talk to you.
Stay safe, stay happy, enjoy your family. I'm sorry the circumstances. My condolences for that, but stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon, Steve.
Bob, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:07 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings. Let's not keep him out there too long because we've got some good things to talk about. Let's bring him in now.
About to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law.
Hey, David, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. I'm kind of excited. I know we've got, I don't know if you got the email I sent you today, but when I saw that thing, it just made me kind of think sort of in suspenseful, right? Is that the most amazing thing you ever saw in your life? First of all, I can describe it or I can let you describe it. Why don't you go ahead and describe what it was that I sent you?
Sure. It was. It came out of what I think Neptune Beach over in Florida.
Yeah.
And it was on the 4th of July, and this 21, 22-year-old guy was a guitar player. So he runs out and takes his amp and his electric guitar. Initially, he's in the middle of the street playing
the national anthem.
The national anthem, exactly. And the cop comes up to him and says, if you keep that up, I'm going to arrest you. And he asks the officer, well, can I do it on the sidewalk? And the officer says yes. He goes back to the sidewalk, finishes his version of the national anthem, and promptly when he's done, they come up and say, well, we'd like to talk to you. And he says, well, I'm worried about my guitar. They say, well, you're not going to have a problem. You'll be able to come back and get it. And they take him over to the police car where they promptly arrest him for breach of the peace.
Is that the most amazing thing you ever... First of all, I got to tell you what, for those people that haven't seen this, go to YouTube and just, I guess, just plug in a national anthem arrest or something like that. But basically, disturbing the peace or whatever the heck... This guy actually was really talented. It was really kind of neat to listen to. And there must have been 300 or 400 people listening to this kid.
Yeah. I mean... he did a good job of it, and
he wasn't mocking it. He wasn't mocking it at all. He was being very respectful and patriotic.
Yeah, I didn't see any peace he was breaching any place. So, I mean, that was it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, and then and David, all the people cheering him because they loved what was going on. You'd have thought that the police would have been happy to have somebody who was patriotic and not creating a real issue. There were people there that were just enthralled with his rendition of the national anthem, and it was just beautiful on electric guitar. It was like that thing was talking, you know. It was just great.
Yeah, and you know, the other kind of interesting things is he hadn't been drinking. He was stone cold sober.
Yeah.
Wasn't making an idiot out of himself. Just stood there with his one foot up on the amp and played his guitar.
Very respectful to the police and to the people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I pulled up that Florida statute on breach of the peace.
I was hoping you would.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So I'm going to kind of break this apart by, little sentences in here, and we can kind of see how messed up this was.
Okay.
It starts with, whoever commits such acts as are of a nature to corrupt the public morals, I
don't see that one.
Yeah.
You know,
or outrage the sense of public decency.
You know, I'm going to stop you right there. We have people who burn the flag that don't get arrested.
Yeah. I mean, there's been Supreme Court cases all over the place about flag burning and that being covered by freedom of speech. So I don't know where that doesn't make any sense. And then they say, or affect the peace and quiet of persons who may witness them. I'm assuming by the them it's talking about the public morals or public decency. If not, that statement is.
I would think
so
that too. And 300 people weren't chastising him. 300 people happened to be enjoying it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then it continues, or engages in brawling or fighting. We don't have that. Engages in such conduct as to constitute a breach of the peace or disorderly conduct shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the second degree. I don't see breach of the peace and disorderly conduct. There clearly wasn't any of that. I don't know what on earth these guys
I'm just hoping that a judge looks at this and bombasts the police officers that did this and throws this thing out of court.
Oh, they should. I mean, that's just insane, you know, and I heard his interview, and they were initially thinking about citing him with, I'm assuming it would have been a felony, trying to incite a riot.
Yeah.
He would have been...
Did you see? I mean, I didn't see anything like that.
No. I mean, to me, what he did just goes so fundamentally to our freedom of speech rights.
And such an abuse of police power.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, historically, that's what the freedom of speech was about. Go out and stand in the town square and start flapping your jaws, and hoping you would have people come listen to your point of view.
But David, if he's standing in the street, and I understand the police don't want that because it's blocking traffic, although there's 300 people out there blocking traffic anyway, and the police come up to him and say, hey, if you keep doing that here, you're going to get arrested. He says, well, can I go onto the sidewalk? And the police say, yes, you can, go ahead. And so he goes onto the sidewalk and plays his tune, or into the grass, it looked like. And the police wait because they say out of respect for the national anthem, which I don't. How you respect the national anthem when you arrest the guy that's playing it?
Yeah.
And then they wait, and there's like 4 or 5 cops around him, and they very nonchalantly say, hey, listen, we need to talk, come with us. And the guy puts his guitar away, and he does all this kind of stuff and walks with the police. And then they tell him to spread his legs and put his arms behind him. He's under arrest. What the heck kind of deal is that?
It's just mind-boggling. I have no idea what these guys were thinking. They probably didn't interrupt them during the national anthem because they probably would have got lynched there.
Oh yeah, I would think so. I would think so. And you know what? And it was, for me, to watch this video was so refreshing because most of the crowd that you saw there were mostly young people, and that you can't hear a young guy playing the national anthem on the guitar as well as he does, and all these young people just really, really enjoying it and all feeling patriotic at the moment. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
And then you have the police come in and abuse their authority that way.
Yeah, I mean, if this ever gets filed, I would be absolutely amazed.
Yeah.
Police chief ought to be embarrassed that what his officers did. I mean, this is just crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can understand the police showing up because traffic had been blocked. I didn't see it, but there were so many people out there, and they were in the street, that traffic couldn't get through there. So I can understand the police saying, hey, guys, you got to move off the street. And I don't have an issue with that. But this was done peacefully. The young man said, so can I go on the sidewalk? And he says, yeah, if you move over to the, and so the guy was very peaceful. He was very respectful to the police. I guess the next thing is if the police didn't like the national anthem, they'd have shot him, huh?
You got it. You know what is really frustrating about stuff like this is you watch this video and then you compare it with, let's say, some of the videos that we see after somebody wins some sports championship.
Yeah.
Or
hell, today they shut down New York City for a ticker tape parade for a sports team for the ladies soccer World Cup. They shut down New York City for that thing, and these police are worried about a street on the beach.
Yeah. I couldn't. I just can't explain this one. No idea on what to even say about it.
I'm actually, I'm talking about it and I'm laughing about it, but the truth is, David, I'm appalled by it. I just think that it was handled so inappropriately. You think, I made comment about the women's team, the U.S. women's team winning the World Cup and then having the ticker tape parade in New York. And most of those team players are from California. The thing is that the reason they're in New York and the reason that they're shutting down the street to have this ticker tape parade is one of nationalism and national pride in what these young women brought to our nation. And all this young man did was to honor our national anthem.
Yeah, on the 4th of July.
On the 4th of July. That's, yeah. I mean, gee. I mean, good God Almighty.
Yeah. You ever sit back, scratch your head, and say, this is a pretty screwy world we live in?
Oh, yeah. So, David, give us a little teaser about what we're going to talk about when we come back after this break.
I thought we'd talk about this Fitbit. social media and how that can affect claims that are within litigation.
Yeah, sounds good to me. All right, we're talking to our own David Garrett on the law. We'll be right back with David after these brief messages. Do not go away. You don't want to miss what he has to say about social media and the law. We'll be right back. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own David Garrett on the law. And David, you're going to talk about the law and social media, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Or let me make it a little bit broader. It's how technology is really catching liars out there. I like that one. So here's a good example. There's this gal that lives back east, and she calls 911 requesting police officers to come out and because she's been raped in her house. And the officers arrive and they find overturned furniture, a knife, and a bottle of vodka. The woman makes a claim that she was raped by a stranger at midnight, claimed to have been asleep, and woke up to find the man on top of her. And this lady was wearing a Fitbit activity tracker at the time. So the police go out there and they start talking to her, and they go around the house. Don't find any footsteps in any of the snow that's around the house. So they start to get a little bit suspicious, and they get her Fitbit tracker. Now, the way I understand these Fitbit things to work is you put them on your wrist, and they track the number of steps you do, and they track whether you're moving or sedentary. Some versions of them track your sleep, basically tell you what you're doing all the time. And they get a hold of this Fitbit log and compare it to the period of time that she claims that she was asleep and then the man raped her. And they come to find out that purportedly when she's sleeping, she's up walking around and doing anything but sleeping. Mm-hmm. So what they end up doing is charging the lady with 3 counts of filing false police reports. And that case is currently headed to trial. So it's kind of an interesting example of how the Fitbit, and that isn't even on the web, tracker can catch a liar in their.
So what you're saying is modern technology works a couple of different ways. It's not only, in this particular case, not only tracking your fitness and your health and all the different things that you do, but it's something that the authorities can also use to find out what the heck you've been doing.
Oh yeah. And when you start broadening the concept beyond this case, we run into real interesting kind of issues. Facebook, everybody wants to post their picture on Facebook of what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So you run into situations like the boss that you've called in sick to, and he happens to see on your Facebook account that you're really down at the beach. That's happened pretty regularly.
Yeah, I would think everywhere but Denver, because there's no beach.
Exactly. Or you'll get these guys that are filing some sort of injury claim, claiming to be disabled, or workers' compensation claim, and they got the adjusters out there just searching Facebook to see if the photographs are matching up with what the person claims their injuries to be. And, they can get prosecuted for, fraudulent filings in those cases. If you think about it, even your cell phone, because, the cell phone keeps that log of
well, you know what, David?
GPS.
That I want to go back to a conversation that you and I had a few months ago, or maybe a month, or at least more than a month ago. And we were talking about your right to privacy, and when police actually take your phone and they start looking at your emails and your texts and your phone calls that you're making, and how much of that is a violation of your rights. So right. Does that same premise apply to social networks?
I don't really think it does, because if you make that visible to everybody, mm-hmm. It would fit within, I think the analogy would be the plain sight doctrine, where you don't have to get a warrant or you don't violate search and seizure just simply because you see something in plain view.
But how about the one now? Now let's take it a step farther, because I actually I exercise every day.
and I have a program that actually monitors what the altitude is that I'm climbing, how fast I'm going, what distance I'm going, my averages, all that stuff. And it records it all, and it's all sitting here in this case on my iPhone. But I'm not putting it out on the internet anywhere. But is that something that, I mean, the police could obviously use that against me if they wanted to know where I was at? The GPS on my phone knows where I'm at.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court came out and said they have to get a warrant to be able to search and examine the phone. With a properly drafted warrant, I believe people could get that, or the police could get that. So to answer your question, I mean, with all these electronic things we got accumulating all this data, and I'm not standing up for liars. I'm just saying, hey guys, you need to realize your life isn't quite as private as you think it's private.
You ever watch any of these CSI shows, David?
The which ones?
You ever watch any of these CSI shows?
Yeah.
Or even the police shows. They actually can go to a cell towers to find out where you were at a specific time of the date because your phone would be pinging off of a different tower, and they have all of this technology and all this stuff that's available. And we really do live in an era of Big Brother. Orwell's 1984, in that the authorities have the ability to track us no matter where the heck we're at. The only hope we have is if we want to stop being in contact with our loved ones and our families and our friends, we've got to turn our phone off if we don't want to be tracked 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Or don't post to Facebook. Or you just got to unplug if you really want privacy.
Yeah.
The one issue with all this that I kind of have mixed reaction to is there's a lot of people that do sustain a very traumatic injury, and as they're recovering, they're going to have good days, they're going to have bad days. You got a bad back, it's with you all the time. Let's say you get your medication, you happen to feel better for a little bit, and so you increase your activity level when that's going on. But let's say that you've told people that, hey, my back bothers me, I'm having these problems, and then you happen to have a good day. And on that one isolated good day, you make the mistake of going someplace where somebody takes a Facebook picture. And it may be nothing more than smiling. Or walking up and down the street or something like that, being in some place that normally you wouldn't be. What can happen is you can have that isolated picture, which is just one moment in time, and people can use that to destroy this person's credibility when in fact they're really telling the truth.
Right, because they happen to have. You know what? I can actually give a personal example of that. Back in 1984, I was in a traumatic accident, and it took a long, long time to recover. And at that time, I lived in a 2-story home, and I couldn't go upstairs. So I was actually on one of these sofa beds that they had stiffened up and put some matting and stuff on so that I could actually lay on it because I had 128 broken bones. Anyway, wow. It was just constant, horrible, horrible pain, David. But I remember one day I opened my eyes and I felt no pain at all. Now, the difference being, for me, I didn't want to twitch. I didn't want to rub my nose. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything because that's the first time I had been pain-free in such a long, long time. I was forced to get out of bed and move around anyway, and all the pain came back. But I can see what you're saying, that every once in a while, even though you have not, I still had 128 broken bones, but I wasn't feeling any pain at that moment. And it would be the same thing if a guy was complaining about a bad back, a bad neck, constant pain. There are those instances when you get some relief.
Yeah. And when you get it, the first thing you want to do is try to get back to living your life. And the sad part is most people do it, get back to living their life for that little one day or whatever it is, usually overdo it, and they really pay the price the next day. But you have that isolated photograph there showing you doing pretty well, and you don't have a photo from the next day where you're laid up in bed, and you don't have a photo from the day before when you were hurting, just because those kind of photographs don't get taken and people don't want them to be taken.
Yeah, so does that mean then that you don't have a defense? Doesn't common sense say that you do have good days and bad days?
Well, it all comes down to the person convincing the trier of fact that, we wax and wane in our physical health and how we feel. And if the jury believes it, well, it's not going to be a problem. If they don't believe it, it's going to be a big problem. And some people innately come across as very honest, others don't. But just because of our own personal bias, don't come across being innately honest, doesn't mean they're not telling the truth. It just means we're more willing to give the benefit of the doubt to somebody else that fits within our personal bias. I think this whole social network thing and these photographs. One, if you're in that situation, you need to understand what's going on. I'm not saying don't live your life, but understand what's happening. On the flip side, I think it's a matter of society in general has got to be more understanding that, it's okay to be severely injured and occasionally have a good day.
Yeah.
It's what happens is they will get in there, they'll read from a deposition or some transcript, and let's just take kind of a silly example based on what you said. Your life, you had to spend it on the first floor. If you testified in a deposition and they ask you, well, do you ever go up to your second story? Your answer is going to be no, because you just don't do it.
Yeah.
You may not even remember the one time in the middle of 2 years ago that you went up.
Yeah.
But let's say they took a picture from the second story window. You waving at somebody out on the street. That's the kind of thing that can be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. Well, David, this has been fascinating. This has been a fast half hour.
Yeah, it has been. It's been interesting issues, and I sure feel sorry for that poor kid with his guitar.
Oh yeah, I do too, and I feel sorry for the fish that are going to be exposed to you tomorrow.
I'm going.
All right, my friend. Hey, listen, it was a great show. Stay safe, stay happy, get a lot of fish, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. You have a great weekend, Bob.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776.
If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:40 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, don't you? Yeah, you do. It's July the 10th. And you know what? It's somebody's birthday. And you know what? This gentleman, most of us all know him, born in 1920, died in 2003, a newscaster for NBC and ABC in a career spanning from 1951 to 1997. Happy birthday to David Brinkley. And here's one that most everybody knows. Born in 1947, a folk singer, son of Woody Guthrie, he often sings songs to protest against social injustice. Happy birthday to Arlo Guthrie. And then finally, born in 1980, a singer, actress, and television personality who rose to fame in the late 1990s. Happy birthday, Jessica Simpson. And you know what happened in history today? Well, let's talk about that. In 1821, the United States takes possession of its newly bought Florida from Spain. And in 1913, Death Valley, California hits 134 degrees Fahrenheit, the highest temperature recorded in the United States ever. And in 1962, Telstar, the world's first communications satellite, is launched into orbit. We wouldn't be talking to you the way we are now via satellite if it weren't for that. And finally, in 1978, World News Tonight premieres on ABC. Well, the quote for today comes from Albert Schweitzer, and Albert says, "Happiness is nothing more than good health and a bad memory." You know, go figure. That makes a lot of sense, right? You just don't remember anymore. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And you know, you hear me talk about it every day. It's all about a positive mental attitude, and today's no difference. It's always going to be about a positive mental attitude. You have one, your life will be better, and the lives of everyone you touch will be better. Today's lesson is praise and bless everything in your life. When you're praising or blessing, you are on the highest frequency of love. In the Bible, the Hebrews used the act of blessing to bring forth health, wealth, and happiness. They knew the power of blessing. There you go. It's all about a positive mental attitude. You don't have to be religious for it, but it's all about
a positive mental attitude. Now, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. The management tip today is know when it's time to start looking for a new job. You know, we're wired to avoid change even when we're unhappy. That's why it's so difficult to leave a job, no matter how uninspiring or monotonous it may be. But sometimes a career switch is in your best interest. A few key signs can help you decide to make that move. First of all, you're not learning. Studies have shown that the happiest progression to old age involves work that stimulates the mind into continuous learning. And you're underperforming. If you could do your job in your sleep, you're almost certainly underperforming. Sooner or later, this will harm your resume and employability. You're better off finding a job that entices you to perform at your highest level and challenges you. And then finally, you feel undervalued. You won't enjoy your work unless you feel appreciated, especially by your manager. And feeling undervalued makes you more likely to burn out and engage in counterproductive work behaviors like absenteeism and sabotage. Yeah, don't laugh. It's true. Those things absolutely will happen, do happen, besides can happen. All right, it's time for interesting but useless facts. You know that I really love this section of the show. I'm getting to where I like it more. I learn a lot from it, even though some of this stuff is kind of ridiculous. But it's interesting if you think about it. It really is quite interesting when you talk about these interesting but useless facts. So you know what? Why talk about it anymore? Let's go ahead and absolutely get into it. You know, did you know that about 55% of all movies are rated R? 55%. And did you know that Billie Jean by Michael Jackson was the first video to air on MTV by a black artist? There you go. Well, you know, he, regardless of what you think about him and what he was accused of and all those things, boy, what a talent that man was. Did you know the first anti-lynching law in the United States was passed in Georgia in 1893, but it only made the violation punishable by 4 years in prison? Instead of being hung, you spend 4 years in prison. I think that's a pretty good trade-off, right? Did you know that in 1860, Godey's Lady's Book advised U.S. women to cook tomatoes for at least 3 hours? Man, geez. Turns it into a sauce. Did you know that a hedonophobic means fear of pleasure? Boy, I don't think anybody listening to my show has that problem. How about this? Did you know billy goats urinate on their own heads to smell more attractive to females? Well, guys, don't try it. It might work for a billy goat, but it's not going to work for you. You ever have somebody tell you smell like a billy goat? Now you know what they're talking about. Did you know the odds of being born male are about 51.2% according to the census, as opposed to being born female? Yep. No wonder we outnumber them. You know, the average web page contains 500 words. The average web page. Now, if you think about it, that is not very much. McDonald's French fries are made with beef flavoring. Go figure. And did you know coffee, along with beer and peanut butter, is on the national list of the 10 most recognizable odors? There's a fact. Matter of fact, if you have a brain injury, the neurosurgeon will actually, without knowing what it is, have you smell coffee grounds and peanut butter and beer, just to see if you can recognize those flavors, to see if there is reason to go on and continue to check on neuro disease. Here's one for you. Bowlers are allowed to have a maximum of 5 finger grip holes on a regulation bowling ball. 5. Yeah. Some of them only use 3. Strong fingers, I guess. How about this? Did you know that cat gut comes from sheep, not cats? So when you talk about those sutures, cat gut sutures, it's not coming from cats. Go figure. And then finally, Hungarian brothers George and Laszlo Biro invented the ballpoint pen in 1938. You know, and I'm going to give you one more. Turkeys often look up at the sky during a rainstorm. Unfortunately, some have been known to drown as a result. Go figure. Now listen, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to deal with our emails for the day. The first one comes from Natalie Tusks from Chesapeake, Virginia, asking about an inherited stamp collection value. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. Currently still 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for our emails, so I want to give you the same caution that I give you every day. Always, always, always consult a licensed professional before you go out and do anything. You know, this is an entertainment section of the show. We try to do our best and give you a comprehensive answer to your questions. But, you know, most of the information we get is a little sketchy because we don't have an opportunity to interview you. That's what a licensed professional is going to do. They also give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night because they are required by their licensing to have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they give you the wrong advice, they got to pay the piper. That means you don't have to worry about somebody knocking at your door or a certified letter or a phone call, because it's all going to be covered by that licensed professional. Now, let's get right to it. My first email, as I mentioned before, comes from Natalie Tusks from Chesapeake, Virginia, asking about an inherited stamp collection value. She says, I inherited a valuable stamp collection from a relative who had inherited it years earlier from another relative. If I sell it or part of it, how do I calculate my gain? I have no possible way of finding out how much the stamps cost the original collector. Well, Natalie, here's the thing. You don't need to know how much the stamps originally cost to calculate gain on their sale. When you inherited them, they received what they call stepped-up basis, and that's their cost for tax purposes became their value on that date, or on the alternate valuation date 6 months later, if that's what you actually elected to do. Now, generally, gain or loss on a future sale will be determined from that amount. There are some exceptions to this rule, though. Be sure that you have a solid appraisal of the collection's value as of the date you inherited it, and keep it in your permanent records. If you think you might sell off separate items of the collection, get separate appraisals of the items in it as of the inheritance date, and that'll save you lots of frustration and lots of IRS questions. My next email comes from Ian Wallace from Lincoln, Nebraska, is asking about medical deductions for a non-dependency. He says, I'm a divorced parent with custody of my children, although my ex-wife claims the dependency exemptions for them under the terms of our divorce. If I pay medical costs for the children, may I take a medical deduction for them even though the children aren't my dependents? Well, the answer to your question, Ian, is yes. You may. Not everyone realizes this, because the general rule that one can take medical deductions only for costs paid on behalf of dependents did at one time apply to divorced parents too. But this has been changed. Now, today, if either parent claims a child as a dependent, a parent who pays medical costs on behalf of the child can claim a medical expense deduction for all those costs. So hopefully that's helped you. Now, next email comes from Jimmy Lee from Riverside, California, asking about an IRA conversion. And writes, my fiance has an IRA she wants to convert to a Roth, but after we marry, our joint income will be more than the $100,000 limit for doing so. Can we get around this by making the conversion before our wedding day later this year? Well, unfortunately, Jimmy, the answer to your question is no. I'm sorry. Marital status for the entire year is determined by the status at the end of the year, and a conversion isn't possible for those filing a joint return with income over $100,000. It's also not possible to escape the income limit by filing a separate return, since separate returns aren't eligible to make that conversion. Now, to be eligible to make a conversion this year, you'll have to find some way to reduce your joint income to under that $100,000 limit for this year, or remain unmarried at the end of the year. And that might not be such a good decision for you to make. Just give that some serious thought. You might be better off just going ahead and not making that conversion, honestly. Okay, my last email for today comes from Cameron Nuno from Kansas City, Missouri, asking about home sale exemptions, and writes, I know that one must have used a home as a primary residence for 2 of the prior 5 years to take taxable free gain on its sale, but is the date of the sale included in the 2 years? That is, can I rent my home out for 3 years before selling it? Great question, Cameron. And the answer is yeah. As long as you still meet the 2 of 5 year residency test, you can sell your home for a tax-free gain of up to $250,000 or $500,000 if it's a joint return, less any depreciation taken during the rental period, even after having converted it to a for-profit rental. So hopefully that's answered your questions, and I've helped you a little bit. It was a great, great question. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcast broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. He's going to be talking about food and wine. And my special guest, John Kurth, the Wizard of Words. He's going to be talking about the syntax of success. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again on Monday for my next show at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Have a great time. Stay safe. Stay happy. And you know what? Good night, everybody.